white slave, state of mind, graffiti eye.
We're back. It is the summer season movie spectacular. We got to come up with a better name. I can't remember what we call it every single time, but we're doing a new thing today, as you said, Kyle, as you were singing earlier.
We're doing a new thing.
Yeah. Watson&Wiltshire doing a new thing. You know
I
who's
know
doing it?
thing. If you were in the youth group in the 90s, you know what we're talking about. It doesn't matter whose youth group, just the youth group.
A youth group, yeah.
In the 90s. You know, he's doing it.
So,
Anyway.
man, tell me, we haven't talked in a while. How are you?
It's been a minute, man. We've had some family trips. I have been slammed with work stuff, deadlines, and so, man, I'm just now like right here. I'm not out of the water, but I'm like right here. My nose is getting oxygen, so I'm getting close. I'm getting close to being out of the water.
Well, that's great.
How about you, man?
Good.
What you been up to?
Man, it's just summertime. I've been trying to work and trying to get things done. I enjoyed the 4th of July holiday. I did not do any actual physical work. I celebrated 250 in style. I had an amazing outfit on that was red, white, and blue on almost every piece of clothing I was wearing.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Over and under.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, happy
Patriotic
birthday to our
through.
nation. The semi-sesquicentennial, I think is what it's the 250th.
I don't think you should ever say that again, Kyle. I don't know what you just said. That was
via Ryan Trahan, YouTuber Ryan Trahan. He taught us that word. I don't know if you watched that. I watched that with my kids. He's great. He's probably the best out there, the best there is.
That's good. That's good. I had a great weekend. Last night, I went to see the movie that we are talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
And went and took my girls. I got to see the Watson twins, and I went to see the movie, and pretty excited to talk about it. Actually,
me too. I took my son last night. It was it's very fresh. It's very fresh upon us.
All right, so today we are discussing Supergirl. This is the second DC film to come out under the James Gunn universe. And it carries a little bit of weight as far as, is this going to be a productive, continual thing? DC has a long history of trying to kickstart their universes. They had a successful, somewhat, that's exactly right. Start, stop.
Is this Batman in it? No, this is not. No, is the Joker? No. It's they're all far flung and spread and different. Yes. And so who knows? Yeah, start and stop. We'll see.
So it'll be good to talk about this because each other trying to clearly do some world building, and I'm looking forward to kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of what you thought about this film.
Yeah.
Before we do that, I mean, like for those, I think you and I both, we don't really have much of a history with Supergirl. I'm not a giant DC fan. I have a better working knowledge than most, but I don't have it plumb the depths of the DC universe. And so other than the one 1980s movie and a few other moments where she's shown up in other things, her story is not well known, and they do a pretty good job of kind of explaining who she is, where she's from, and why she is what she is. And so, Kyle, if you don't mind, would you like to give us a little quick synopsis of this film and what we're getting ourselves into?
Yeah. So, we discovered after doing several of these, we're like, we need to maybe kind of explain the film a little bit. So, I go looking for a source of, what does a good job of succinctly explaining the film. And so this is from IMDb. Want to give credit where credit is due. I'm an editor by trade, so you got to cite your work here. So citing our work straight from IMDb. Here we go. Yeah. The plot synopsis, spoiler free, of Supergirl. Here it is. Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, aka as Supergirl, joins forces with an unlikely companion on an interstellar journey of vengeance and justice when an unexpected adversary strikes too close to home. Boom, boom, boom.
There it is.
That's it.
I don't know that. I think those words, vengeance and justice, is very interesting because, we'll get into that a little bit when it comes to the themes, but they covered kind of some of the big stuff there. And it's tough to not really talk about this film without getting into spoilers. So I know it's a little early, but I think we should just go ahead and hit the 30-second reviews because you and I have talked nothing about this film.
Not a thing.
I don't know what you're going to say. You don't know what I'm going to say. we're about to launch into a 30-second tirade, if you will, about this film, and we don't know what each other's going to say. We
Yeah,
could love it, we could hate it. It's gonna, who knows?
a little background. You and I, we talked about this many, many times, but we used to, during commutes, we both had commutes and times in the car and stuff like that. So we would talk about everything. And so basically, we were like, this is a podcast, basically what we do. This is a podcast. So we'd share everything about our thoughts and we'd, about movies and culture and whatever, sometimes we'd talk about important stuff, but, so it's funny now that we play this game of like, poker face, like after the movie, we're trying not to let the other know what we think. So we get fresh, hot takes right here on the episode. So yeah, I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this. Cause I could guess where I think you're going to go with it, but I don't know for sure, and you probably have a really good idea where I'm going to go with it, but you don't know that for sure. You don't know that
That's
for
right.
sure.
I don't. I have guesses.
You have guesses. I have guesses too.
One time we should write 30-second reviews that we think each other is going to say about the film.
Oh, that's a great idea. Kyle's predicted 30-second Kyle's prediction of Jay's 30-second review. That's fantastic. Yes.
Well, do you want to go first? You want me to go first? What are we doing?
I'm prepared. Yeah, full disclosure. Here in my bedhead this morning, I'm ready to go. I've given some thoughts, and it's gonna show my hand. My poker face is gonna be revealed right here off the shoot. So
I think that you look summertime perfect right now, Kyle.
Oh,
You've got the sun-swept, wind-swept, sun-kissed look.
Yeah.
And I think that it's perfect for today. Summertime. Summertime. That's what I wanted to say. You're looking good.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, let me get my timer pulled up so I know how close I am to hitting this. I'm ready when you are.
All right. This is Kyle Wiltshire's 30-second review of the 2026 film Supergirl, starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
I was really excited for Supergirl. The setup was compelling. Kara's motivation for who she is, and why she is the way she is was clear, and it made perfect sense. Then I saw the movie. Director Craig Gillespie followed the typical James Gunn playbook of gross out saccharine, trying to tug at your very last heartstring with puppies and found family while covering the whole weirdo spectacle in vomit. 1.75 lightning bolts, Jay, and I'll explain more deeper into the episode. Boom.
Oh, that was, I'm really glad that you pre-prepared that because that was a lot of fun. Like, I don't know. Like, I've never really understood why people just hammer films, but like, I think you had a lot of fun doing that, in general.
If someone ever sees this and, goes, these guys really know movies, let's give them a real platform, like I want to put our best foot forward, for our takes and our opinions, because that's all anybody wants, right? Is hot takes. So yeah, that's my hand. I've played it. I'm curious now. I'm curious what you're going to say.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
oh yeah, I have a role in this. I have to time you. Okay, Jay's 30-second review of Supergirl 2026 in 3, 2, 1, go.
Supergirl has all the fingerprints of a James Gunn film. I'm largely on record for saying that I love James Gunn. This is the first time we get to see the larger universe's response to Kryptonians. I think that is very interesting. I thought that Millie Alcott did great. I thought that Lobo was fine. In the end, I really actually felt nothing. The music was bad. It pulled me out of the film. This was no need for a big screen film. This should have been a one-season HBO Max show. I give it 2 out of 5 lightning bolts. Boom.
Boom. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. With your take. Yeah. I know you love James Gunn, and he didn't direct, but it's his universe.
He didn't direct it, And okay, so we're heading into spoiler town. Let's jump right into spoiler
do
town.
it.
We're gonna hop in. Spoiler
warning.
Warning.
Warning. All right, we're there.
You've had your moment. You've heard our 30-second reviews. For the 50 of you that are watching right now, if you haven't seen the film and you want to wait, don't go past this moment.
There we go. Yep.
very clearly James Gunn didn't direct the film.
Yeah.
Man, I just didn't feel anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't feel anything.
I'm a notorious like drop of a hat crier in a movie.
Mm,
And only got choked up once.
mm.
And you know, and that kind of not choked up, but just kind of got a little misty.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
they were really after you to do so, right?
oh man, every James
Yeah.
Gunn movie wants you pulling the tissues and wiping your nose and eyes, and you know he's trying real hard. And so, in line with that, I know again, I need to be very clear. I understand that James Gunn didn't direct this film; Craig Gillespie did, but it was the same thing, trying to make you feel things, you know. And that's funny when you said that about the music. I kind of agree that James Gunn's typically, you know, strong needle drops, but it's like he took a pivot with Superman.
I don't think he had
last
anything
year.
to do with these choices. I think he probably executive produced it. I don't think
Yeah.
we should give James Gunn too much authority. I mean, he's
Sure. But
got
what
a
a-
lot of things going on. I think that he probably let Craig Gillespie pick what he wanted to pick.
Sure.
But so
What I
just
what I was going where I was going with that was back in Superman, last summer's Superman, like, you know, he tried the needle drops, but it was not the typical Guardians of the Galaxy like bangers, you know, oh, this song slaps. It was more like kind of awkward, you know, very fitting with what he was going for. And I felt
Yes.
Gillespie did the same thing. Like a couple of times the songs were kind of cool. You know, often, you know, very saccharine cover versions of songs. It just takes some time. Everybody,
Well,
you know.
that in particular was the worst part of the whole movie for me.
Yeah.
I love that song. I have young women in my family. My girls are twins. Like when that song came out, you know, 25 years ago, when they're or 20 years ago, it's like been with them their whole life. I've
Yeah.
played that song for them because I think that's an extremely valuable lesson for anybody to learn, that like in life, like the moment where you feel like it's the worst or whatever's happening, like you're not really at the end. You're kind of in the middle. And so
Yeah.
like there's value to that song. I understand why they picked it. It just didn't work in that moment. Like
Yeah.
the female soft voice at the beginning, it just didn't work. It was bad.
Yeah. I agree. I didn't like the cover. Of that particular song. And a lot of the times the needle drops were just a little like, I don't, I like this song. Does this work? Maybe, kinda, you
Yeah.
know. But again,
So-
it seems to try to go along with this theme of let's do something kind of weird and just slightly off kilter, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. One of
Yeah.
my favorite songs of the last a year in 2026 was Wet Legs, Catch These Fists.
Ooh,
Um,
Jay. Ooh,
They played that song in the bar. It was the one that she set up on the jukebox and you began to
Okay.
play it.
yeah.
That song
Kind of slapped a little bit.
Catch These Fists by Wet Leg.
Yeah.
One of my favorites of this past year.
Yeah.
They didn't use it very well. Like it
Oh.
was good, but like they should have pulled up the lyrics, because it's like, you know, it's like people trying to come up to her in a you know, dance club or wherever, and she's like, I don't really want to dance with you. If you keep it up, I'm gonna punch you. And like there's nothing better. That's a perfect fit for this film, and they didn't
Right.
use it. You didn't catch those lyrics.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we probably need to talk about, you know, we like to start positive if we can. We probably need to talk about the things that we did like about the film. And there were things that I liked about the film. I know I gave it my lowest score ever, but the reason why is because I went back and I looked and I gave Superman 2 lightning bolts. Now that was overly harsh. It's probably more a 2.5, maybe even 2 3/4. It wasn't a 2. I was just in the moment. So I couldn't give it an equal score with Superman, because Superman was by far better than this film. And I can, even though I didn't like that movie very well, I could easily admit that Superman was a way
Yeah.
better film. So I couldn't give it the same score.
Do you remember what I gave Superman?
5. You blew up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gave it all the lightning bolts, man.
I gave it a 5. And for me to give this a 2, I think indicates it gives maybe a little clearer version of the separation between the two.
Yeah.
You know, for a number of reasons.
Sure.
But yeah, so let's talk about what we liked about it.
Yeah. So starting with the trailer, like you know, and I made this clear. I told you several times. I was like, this trailer is far more compelling to me. The story that they're telling, starting from the trailer, is far more compelling to me than what they did with Superman's story. You know, like I can clearly understand and see why she would be the way she is, why she's on a pub crawl, why she doesn't want to come to Metropolis and hang out with the only relative that she has, the only semblance of her world that's left, like it makes perfect sense. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that, character building in a story that makes sense, so I was really looking forward to this film, thinking it would, it did these things. It touched on her emotions. It touched on
But
why she is the way she is.
but you're right. The logic of the overall film was great.
Yeah.
Like logically, it made sense.
Yeah.
The bad guys were bad. You understood why they were bad. You understood what they
Did
were
we?
doing.
Did we?
Well, I mean, they were a group of bad people
Who wanted a
wanted to
sword?
create.
They wanted
No.
swords, man. They've
No,
got
no.
lasers. They can catch.
No,
They can catch
But-
spaceships falling from the sky with their bare hands. What do they
that
need
wasn't a
swords
spaceship.
for?
That was a tank, dude. That
okay.
was a tank. You're really overselling it here because they basically said here are bad people. They're a nation. They're a world of bad people that only want men, and they're sex trafficking women, which is what they were doing, and they're taking people from other planets and they're doing this. No question, these are bad people.
Clearly.
Why would those people want swords? Because they're bad people, Kyle. They're going into other worlds and they're taking children. So, like, yes, like they're bad, and we know it, and the logic stands. And so, like, do we need to understand, more than that in this film for this purpose? No, the logic really holds up, and you can understand why Supergirl in particular would be like, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to save these girls. They had nothing to do with what happened to them.
Sure. I mean, I totally get that. I guess I was just looking for maybe a little more character development apart from they're just bad. I suppose maybe Marvel has trained me that way that, every bad guy at least has some sort of motivation, seemingly,
Yeah.
apart from they're just a terrible bad person who wants to destroy the world and watch it burn.
Well,
I
in
don't know.
DC, you have to remember Wonder Woman comes from a race of people that is only women.
Right.
And so, like, it's not a huge jump that in this universe, there's a group of only men and they're like dangerous. Like they are like interested in, the worst parts of masculinity.
Yeah.
And, so like,
toxic.
yeah. And so you can want a little bit more because I think this film left every part of it was wanting a little bit more, but the logic holds up.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm not questioning the logic at all. It was
Yeah.
it was more just kind of the story beat of this guy shows up and he wants a sword. It's
Yeah.
great. Okay.
Yeah. So you talked about liking kind of the general setup from the
Yeah.
trailer. That
Yeah.
was something you really liked.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also like, I think James Gunn's universe is working very hard to humanize Kryptonians in the sense of it's doing a good job of explaining when and why their powers are effective and when they're not, instead of just constantly being OP'd. Did it frustrate me a little bit in the storytelling? Yes, but it was very clear that she's on this planet. She, it's a red sun. She's basically a normal person there. She's on this planet. It's a yellow sun. She has her powers. It's on this sun. It's a planet. It's a green sun. That's basically kryptonite, if I understood correctly, And so I appreciated that. At least it made sense
Yeah.
in the
So
storytelling.
this is where we get into the comic book world.
Yeah.
Superman's been around, I don't know, 100 years, maybe, maybe more.
Yeah,
I
close.
don't know. And with that, there's only like you have to remember he is an alien. That is something that we lose because the whole point of Superman is
Right.
him being human, and that was a big part of James Gunn's origin film for Superman in this DC universe. So if he's an alien, that means he comes from another planet. That means there are other aliens. There's a whole universe out there. And as we're setting up other things in the DC universe, you have the Green Lantern Corps, where we're about to get a series on the Green Lanterns. They are the intergalactic police. They are
Yeah.
the ones that are protecting the universe from, people like the bad guys in this film. And
Yeah.
so with that, you have a whole world, you have a whole universe of aliens and races, and they all do things different ways. I felt this film did an excellent job showing us, hey, here's these people. This is what they do. Was it simplistic? Yes. But is it a quick way to build a world realizing that everybody in the known universe kind of understands what other people in the universe are like and understands what they're about and why they do what they do. And they can even speak these different languages. And so, like, just culturally, the simple thing of like, hey, you put your bag at this person's feet, which means that you called her this,
Right.
like that is a cultural thing. I have been to another country where I gave the A-OK, and that was not okay to do in that country. And so I understand how culturally simple things that you do don't always work everywhere else.
Oh,
And
sure,
so
sure.
like they did a good job in setting up there was a lot of comparisons to Star Wars in some of the reviews, and I at least understand and appreciate why they said that. I don't think it was a Star Wars film or anything like that, but there was some some ship travel that would make you kind of feel that way, and some different versions of it being like a dirty universe, which
Yeah.
is kind of Star Wars-esque. But as far as the aliens go, as far as the other things, I thought they did a pretty good job of kind of building, a natural pre-existing universe that understands that there were Kryptonians. They understand kind of their story and who they are, and maybe they're even fables in other places. But so it's not surprising that they understand how suns work for them and how other things work. And even
Yeah.
they may have even heard of what Superman is like in, Superman's fame has traveled the universe at this point. And so there are things that are going on there. And so for those reasons, I really liked the greater universe that DC's trying to create and was happy with that.
Yeah. Do you know if in the lore, comic book canon, whatever of Supergirl, that they exploded a piece of Krypton and lived in this force field world? And
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about any of that. I thought it was great. Like I loved it because like the whole he's like if he lived on the planet, if Superman lived on the planet Krypton, did he act like he was sick and about to die every time he walked around in Krypton? But yet, kryptonite here on Earth causes that to him.
yeah.
And so it doesn't make sense that he lived on Krypton or people lived on Krypton and they weren't crippled like he is by it.
Well,
by
it wasn't until they
kryptonite.
exploded their core and they
That's right.
re-earthed
That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
yeah, I got you.
that makes sense more so than just a pre-existing world. A chunk from a pre-existing world causes the pain that it does to
Yeah.
Superman. Like
Yeah.
the core exploding and then everybody getting sick, everybody getting irradiated, everybody heading towards death. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
Like, that's a great way to kind of explain that and explain what's going on. It's not just, it's an element that it's like, it's our uranium. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's our thing that makes us get sick, even though it's on the earth, it's not the earth. And so
Yeah.
that's helpful.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. For me, that was about it. Those were things that I didn't necessarily like. It were things that
Yeah.
I appreciated.
Yeah.
I mean,
What did you think about Millie Alcock? Because I'll tell you what I liked. I liked it. I never saw her comb her hair. I liked that I never saw her put on makeup. I liked that they didn't try to make her some type of a beauty symbol, even though she's a lovely young lady. Like, they didn't, they put a skirt on her, which I was kind of like, I don't know about that. Like, it's 2026, why you got a skirt on? But then when you realize the weight, it's got pants underneath it, or what, short pants or whatever you want to call it. She's wearing Spanx. I don't know. And like, it's great. Like, it works. And like what she does and how she operates, like, I thought that for their story and the logic that they were creating for this story, she was pitch perfect in what she did and how she acted. And I loved her motivation. I love how they set up her motivation. And probably, one of my favorite things about the story, what's the famous quote from the Chronicles of Narnia about Aslan? He's not
safe, but he's good.
He's not safe, but he's good.
Yeah.
I recently saw where someone on my Facebook feed was basically like, you need to keep all women away from this movie under the age of 16. Like, that was a quote that they said about
Supergirl.
this film, about Supergirl.
Okay.
It was like, we need to protect our young women. Keep no one under the age of 16 should go see this film. And it was from a leader, in a denomination of sorts. And so after I hadn't seen it, so I didn't know what to think when I read that, and so going to see it, I was really disappointed in that take
Hmm.
because sometimes religion, in particular, can take a um, issue like alcoholism or drugs or things like that, and they can make that the focus over trauma or
Hmm.
pain or loss. And so I don't think in any way this film glorified alcoholism. I don't think in any way this film glorified, self-medication. I think it showed that it was a pretty rough existence. And she even at the end kind of comes to a place where she's like, yeah, that's not for me anymore.
Yeah.
Like, so there's a arc there. But more importantly, like a theme that we're kind of seeing in films, we saw it in Disclosure Day and we're seeing it in this, is like what happens when trauma lands in your immediate world? Like, how do
Yeah.
you respond? How did Clark respond versus how did Kara respond, or Kara, however you say her name in the
Yeah.
film? Clark didn't really have the emotional same trauma that she did. He
Right.
lost everybody in his world, but he never knew them, and he was
Right.
raised by parents, and he had a good upbringing, and he was as American as apple pie. She lived it until she was, a young
Right.
adult on some level, and like we don't exactly know that timeline, but
Right.
like
That was all
she
vague.
lived it. She watched her planet die. She watched her mother die. She watched her father getting sick. Like, and like the message that I loved, where I'm kind of getting to, is Millie Alcock Cara was rude. She was gross. She was mean. She was lots of things, but ultimately she was good. And she cared about doing the right thing when the right thing needed to be done. And I love that message. Like sometimes we promote we promote politeness over integrity, over
Hmm.
character. We promote looking a certain way and having the right decorum over doing the right thing. And I thought that this film did a really good job of showing the difference between having everything together perfect and in the right moments doing the right thing when it matters, being good. I
Yeah.
thought they did a really good job kind of showing that off.
Yeah. I mean, I can appreciate that, she had a moral core, a moral compass that guided her. She had to be goaded into action initially, to help. But yeah, I can appreciate that. And, I think we're definitely far more sensitive in our world today to trauma and to looking past the surface of someone's actions and into the motivation and the reasons
Hmm.
why, and
Yeah.
giving some grace there versus just, cutting them off because they did bad things or they acted in bad ways.
Yes.
I can appreciate that, but that's, I think I'm about ready to start ripping this thing apart. Are you ready to hear me hear me go to town here?
Yeah, I'll start. I think there's a little bit of incongruence in the way they finished the film and how they set her up. The conversation that I had with the girls afterwards were, you know, Supergirl tried so much to save this Ruthie or whatever her name was,
Yeah, Ruthie.
Ruthie, to save her kind of soul and, don't chase after revenge, but then she went and did the things she was telling Ruthie not to do.
Yeah.
And that's a little incongruent. And my response to that was Supergirl was not acting out of revenge. She was acting out of justice and vengeance. And like it was a just war philosophy, if you will. And so that was kind of my answer, but still it's a little incongruent how it finished.
Yeah. And in some ways, I think maybe I'm being overly simplistic, but she was, you know, I am already wounded and scarred. This is just another brick in the wall for me.
Yeah.
This would build your foundation.
Yeah.
If you
No,
go
that's
through with
that's
this,
that's certainly yes, that's great. Certainly how I kind of felt about it as well.
yeah,
I'll start with one bad thing and then I'll let you go on your I know your gun is loaded, so I'll let you do that. Um, I appreciated the bad guys. I appreciated their um why they were. It felt as though they literally went into the closet of Guardians of the Galaxy and put the bad guy outfits from the Reavers or whatever
yeah,
they're called in that. Is it the Reavers? Is
the
that what they're
Reavers,
called?
yeah, yeah,
And they've just put it on. Like it
yeah,
could have been any of those like if what's his name? Gondu or Grandu? What's his,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah. Oh, Yondu.
if Yondu
I'm Mary
and
Poppins, y'all.
yeah, if Yondu and Sean Gunn had walked out and been in the background, it wouldn't have shocked me at all. Like
Right. Yeah.
these guys, I mean, like it was how do you spend so much time on aliens? How do you spend so much time on a universe, but then the bad guys just look like these punk rock Guardians of the Galaxy jokes?
Yeah.
Like I just don't understand. I don't understand why you did that.
Yeah.
Like everybody's going to compare you to James Gunn.
Right.
This is a James Gunn universe. Why did you do it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Yeah. It seems like, again, that's why in my 30-second review, I was like, he followed the James Gunn playbook, all the way down to the costume design, it seemed. You made comments in the Superman pod that James Gunn likes to put people in square cells. Well, in this one, at least they were kind of circular, the cells, rounded with spikes, So,
Yeah.
so he varied there. Yeah, I'm gonna lay it all out here. And this colors everything I feel about, honestly,
Okay, good.
man, from the original Guardians on. About, again, we're giving a lot of blame to James Gunn, but I do think that there is an aesthetic that they are sort of, there's like a Bible, like, this is for this universe, this is what we want it to look like, how we want it to feel like, all those things. I haven't read this or heard this to be true, but I think it's gotta be because of the similarities between the two films and the aesthetic and just the James Gunn overall sensibility that colored the entire production of this film. But to me, the reason why the cantina scene is so cool in Star Wars is because it's only 10 minutes of the film. It's not the whole film. If the whole film took place in the cantina, it'd get old real fast. And I feel
Okay.
like that's something that James Gunn has not figured out about the standard movie going public, to this point. And if his universe is going to continue to be ultra weird, ultra gross, ultra just, it's just not going to appeal to me at all. Now, I know the context of the story is space, it's aliens, it's those things you articulated at the start of the episode, and I appreciate that. I understand that, but like, Jay, and maybe I'm just super sensitive to this because my daughter has a real phobia of seeing people vomit on screen, but 3 times someone vomited in this movie. 3 times.
So is that what you were talking about by the grossness of it?
Yeah, and just, the way the aliens look and slime and nasty and, it's like all this, they're wanting to unsettle you. I think, and I feel the same way about James Gunn. They're always wanting to unsettle you, to not let you be comfortable with what you're seeing on screen, because of the set design, because of the way the creatures look, because of the slime and the gross and the vomit and the whatever. I'm hearkening back to Guardians 3 when they went on that planet that was like a living organism, and the flesh and the tissue and all that, it's like that sort of stuff just does not appeal to me at all, not in the least
Sure.
bit. I can handle, Walking Dead level, like chop a monster's head off, a zombie's head off or whatever. But typically that's, one moment in the episode. It's not the whole episode. So it's like everything they're wanting to do is to make you feel gross and sick. So, the brigands show up and he's like, "Is that pie?" And he eats a piece of pie and it's sloppy and it's gross and it's nasty. It's like he walks into the cell and there's a plate of bugs. And so he picks up the plate of bugs and he eats it. He had that Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11 thing. Every time he walked in a room, he ate something, which I can see is kind of funny. But, Kara goes into a convenience store and a slimy monster is pooping out popcorn or something.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just like, come on, it's like everything doesn't have to be sick. Everything doesn't have to be gross. And so, or weird or I get it. It's alien. They're trying to lean into that, but just not my thing. And so, let's bring on Batman. I saw a Clayface thing trailer before. I'm not super thrilled because I don't really know anything about Clayface and I don't understand why he's the third movie, I'm sure there's a plan. If they let him carry it out, he may not get many more chances, or they might just relegate him to TV. You get to do all the TV shows. We're going to let someone else handle the movies.
Yeah. I don't know. Everything I've seen on that, like, so I don't want to get too far off topic. And I do think it's a really good thing for us to talk about. And so maybe I'm going to bring it up a little bit later. But talking about the film, I do think that they tried something and it didn't work. But I appreciate, as I said before, I appreciate all the whys. Like, men in films get to do certain things, women don't. And they showed her like Supergirl, guess what? She goes to the bathroom. Supergirl, guess what? Red planets, alcohol affects her and she gets sick. Guess what? She could take poison, and the way to do poison is you coat your stomach and you get the poison out. And those are all very human things to do to a whatever you
Super
want to
being,
call,
an
yeah, super being.
overpowered super being. Yeah.
Yeah, an OP super being. And so I appreciate the desire to make, like, I could smell her bad breath like off the screen,
Yeah.
but I don't think it succeeded.
Yeah.
None of the gross stuff that you mentioned bothered me at all. I mean, other than the fact that it was happening, but I think that speaks a little bit to the idea that I just didn't feel much in this film.
Yeah.
And so, like, whether it was happening on film or not, it didn't hit. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't do much for me. And so I don't know if that kind of lessens some of the stuff you were talking about. I didn't really think about vomiting. I didn't count the vomits.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the bug thing was gross, but I just, in the universe, I mean, people on Earth, they drink coffee that fell out of monkey poop. And so, like, I just,
Some do.
okay,
Not me.
but yeah, I don't drink coffee. Ugh. But, it's not uncommon for weird things like that. And so it just didn't
Sure.
didn't land for me, but I also understand and appreciate the grossness that you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's really it, man. I think I made my, I don't, Jason Momoa, I'm kind of over him,
Yeah.
like it's even, he was different from Aquaman, but he was still just sort of this, hey dude, hey, what's up, brother? Like basically a professional wrestler. I don't understand Lobo. I don't understand really why she was scared of him. I know she said
Yeah.
he killed his whole race. Why did he kill his whole race?
So
Where did he come from? I mean,
yeah,
these are
this
things
is
that I
my
don't know automatically. So as a
Mhm.
viewer, I'm going to have to be let in on some of this,
Yeah. So Lobo is a little bit like the Punisher, I guess, in the DC. Like,
Okay.
no, that's not fair. I don't really know how to compare him. He's effectively a immortal, gives off the appearance that he's amoral.
Yeah.
Um,
But he's got a heart
you
of
know,
gold deep down inside.
yeah, like there is a rumor, that he killed off his whole planet or whatever, but he actually didn't. But he doesn't tell anybody differently because it helps his street cred. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of stuff there that, I don't know if they'll ever get the chance to, like, bring out or not. I don't know if I
Yeah.
care really, but I'm just saying, like, this is what I would say. I think that if Supergirl were to show up in other DC movies, I would probably enjoy her showing up, and I'd be glad that she made it, and it would be fun to see her for a moment or two. If Lobo showed up and did a thing in another movie, I'd probably be happy that he showed up, and it was kind of cool that I saw him. But I did not feel like I needed. I don't think they did anything super new in this film. I don't think they did anything super original, and I probably would have enjoyed it on HBO Max for a season.
Yeah.
Like, if they'd, split just like other things that they've done, I probably would have, like, I think I'm going to enjoy Lanterns. I think it would be fun on the small screen. I don't think there was anything valuable to going to the movie and seeing this movie on the big screen that brought it any kind of wow factor.
Yeah.
Was the action cool? It was fun. Have we
Yeah.
seen it before? Yeah, we
Right.
have.
Yeah.
Like, nothing new.
Totally agree. Yeah. Totally agree. Did you have any thoughts on Maddie Ross, aka the young girl Ruthie? Do you know who Maddie Ross is? That's a bit of a deep cut. That's
I don't.
have you seen the movie True Grit?
Yeah.
So there was a 70s movie with John Wayne, or a 60s
Yeah.
movie with John Wayne,
I
and then
love the new one. Yeah.
the Coen brothers remade it.
Yeah.
and
She
that's what
married
launched-
Josh.
Josh Allen,
Josh-
Hallie
Josh Allen.
Steinfeld got like
Yes, thank you.
Oscar nominated performance. So her character in that film was called Maddie Ross, and she's this like precocious, super smart, well above her age,
Yeah.
level of
It's
maturity.
it's a great pull. It's a great example.
It's an homage. Basically, that whole
Yeah.
character, everything about that character was an homage to Maddie Ross in True Grit. This 13-year-old girl or so, going to avenge the death of her parents, and True Grit is just her dad. But,
Yeah.
and I kept wanting at some point in the movie for her to like actually be revealed to be an excellent swordsman, with a guy who,
Yeah.
creates the greatest swords in the world that the brigands want to steal, even though they have lasers, they still want physical swords. But anyway, I was wanting her at some point to like, go to town and be like, whoa, she's a samurai, she's awesome. But it never really happened. And she could outwit, she could sneak out and crawl into small spaces and, escape and things like that. But she was constantly, stay here and not staying here. Those tropes always kind of drive me bananas, in movies. But the
So for
actress, her performance was good, but the story didn't really tug at me. The only time I got a little bit misty was at the end when she held on to Supergirl and said, "Why did this have to happen?" That was the only time I felt something like,
yeah,
I wish none of this happened. I was like, gosh, I feel that, I understand
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So that got me. But other than that, it was just a little bit
yeah.
like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Well, I'll say this. I think that she was more of a symbol than she was a character.
Yeah.
And they were trying to show the protection of innocence with her. The films had some pretty serious undertones that they kind of touched on, the sex
Yeah.
trafficking, young girls just being ripped from their families and bad things happening to them
Right.
and them having no control over it.
Yeah.
And Supergirl, in a way, saw this young lady as innocence personified. And if you make her a good swordsman, then she has to fight, then she has to kill, then she has to enter into a world that,
Yeah.
she doesn't really need to for her soul. And
Right.
so she was kind of fridged on purpose.
Yeah.
She was made to be a precious thing that was protected, more than she was a character that we needed to understand and figure out. Like
Yeah.
she was innocence personified.
Yeah.
So she was fine. Like I didn't need her to be much other than a little girl who needed to continue to get to be a little girl.
Yeah.
And at the end of the film, she's like, maybe I'm going to go do this. Maybe I'm going to go make swords like my dad did.
Yeah.
And she had this, maybe I could, kind of mentality instead of, the world's garbage and, death is everywhere and my soul has been ripped asunder because of death. And
Yeah.
it was more of the possibility was endless. And so I appreciated that.
Yeah. She didn't go full Arya Stark when she could have.
Absolutely.
But cool.
And we've seen that.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Um, I don't know what else can be said about a film. I mean, it's interesting to think about the fact that we talked as much as we have about a film that got poor reviews.
Yeah.
It was poorly reviewed, but there's like could have been a much bigger hit. It could have been it was a miss, and
Yeah.
it could have been a much bigger hit.
It really is interesting. I don't think reviews, pull the tide of movie going, uh, like thoroughly. It definitely has an impact, but I don't think bad reviews cause people not to go see a film at all. But it is interesting that this movie got pretty roundly hammered, and I mean it tanked in the box office. It didn't get anywhere near. I thought it would do pretty well because it seemed like Superman was fairly well received, did pretty well. I think there's more people feel about James Gunn the way you do, I think, than the way I do in terms of, his people like him, like his aesthetic, like his, what he's doing with the universe. I don't know. So for it to kind of come crashing down so quickly is a little scary for, what it is they're trying to do. And it might be, once again, Jay, it might be a
Start stop.
start stop. It might be coming once again.
Looks like they've made 100 million worldwide already, which but there was a 41% no. Let's see, big drops from when it started.
Yeah, but it didn't even win the
Um,
first week. It was like second or third.
Yeah,
Like Backroom still, maybe not Backrooms,
but I mean,
or Obsession, or
you
someone
know,
did better than it did.
I guess the question that I'd have to ask is how much did they spend on it? Because there were basically 6 people in this movie. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like 5 actors.
Yeah, and we talked about this before, and some covert voice actors. That had to be Seth Rogen, the little small,
Had to be.
had
But
to
I mean,
be.
that was like a favor.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about the dog. That, as much as anything, that drove me nuts. That the whole plot of the movie is basically built around getting an antidote for a dog. Too much crypto. And even though he was barely in it, apart from the beginning and end.
All right, let's talk about it, Scott, because I have opinions and I want to ask questions instead of attack. And so, It's been a couple weeks. Here's what I want to ask. Have you had time to think about Disclosure Day anymore? Do you feel as strongly as you did when you watched it and made the review of 5 stars? Follow up.
Lightning
Reason
bolts.
why I'm asking
5 lightning bolts.
is, yeah, sorry. The reason why I'm asking, and I want to frame it in this way, is it possible that sometimes a director can influence your feelings about a film one way or the other? Like if you already go into it loving someone, do you love the film more? If you already go into a film with strong opinions about gross out or whatever, it only confirms how you feel. And so does it influence a little bit of what you think about things?
Absolutely. I have not seen Disclosure Day again. I've wanted to. I've wanted to take my sons to go see it again because I enjoyed it so much. I had such a good time seeing that movie. Um, I think it can't help but, impact, like you go to a restaurant that you love and they say, "Hey, you want to try the special?" And you're like, "Sure, I love this restaurant. I'll try the special." You're good at the things that I like, so I'll give it a shot, And you may not like the special ultimately, but you tried it, and you're going to give it a chance. I think that's the same thing with directors. Typically you see a director you like the way they tell a story, they like the whatever the themes or the things that come out in the things that they typically lean toward. And some things I think we're just more predisposed. I am, and I think you are too, more predisposed toward, these are the things I like. These are the type of stories I like. This is the type of storytelling that I like. And so I'm more inclined to like this versus, and maybe I'm shaded toward, I think I'll like this versus, shaded toward, I think I won't. I tried really hard to go into Supergirl with an open mind. I really did. And if we have a few moments, we're going to pivot here in just a minute to Toy Story 5. You haven't seen it, but I wanted to talk briefly about Toy Story 5. And it's a good example of, I think how I think I'm fair with things, even even though I may come in with a bit of a preconceived
Do you think
notion.
you were fair with Disclosure Day? Do you still hold up to your 5 stars?
Yes, until I see it again, until I give it a
Okay.
second
Yeah,
evaluation.
second viewing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I
Okay.
keep thinking about it. I keep I
Yeah.
want to go back and see it again. I will
Yeah.
I will not lose an ounce of sleep if I never see Supergirl again.
Yeah.
I want to see Superman again. I haven't revisited it. I want to go back and see the original Superman again. 'Cause I think I didn't give it. I think I was hard on it. And I feel like I might be hard on it, but I don't think I'll ever come back to this one and go, oh yeah, I think this was actually okay. I was just, you know, bad burrito that day. I was in a bad
Sure.
mood or something.
No,
I don't
yeah.
know.
No, I agree with you. I'm not protecting the film Supergirl, but I guess I did kind of want to make a general point that I think it's interesting that Craig Gillespie is really not getting all of the blame for some of the choices that he made simply because James Gunn is involved.
Yeah. Well, I think it is. I think it's very much the Marvel playbook where, here's what we want to do. Here's where we want to go, generally, basically. And if you can fall in line, you can make a film. I think that's what is building. So, a lot of times, they had like 2 or 3 directors for Doctor Strange because they couldn't fall in line with the Marvel way. So I think people who are going to get into this James Gunn DCU, they're going to have to say, yeah, I'll go along with the direction you want it to go. I'll put my
Have
spin
you
on it, but let me do
have
it.
you read have you read much about how this universe is being created or what James Gunn is doing?
Not a whole lot, a little bit, not a whole
Okay.
lot.
Well, I'd like to address that. They're doing very different from how Marvel created it, and I think it's going to show. And I think it answers a question you asked earlier. The reason why the movies that are coming out when they're coming out in the DC universe has everything to do with the director and everything to do with the script. If the script is done and if the script is finished and if the script is good, then they make the film. And so Clayface, a director said, here's my vision. Here's what I want to do. The script got turned in. They loved it. They're doing it. I don't think that James Gunn is spending a lot of time trying to weave a story in the DC universe as Kevin Feige would. And I don't think there's as much control over things other than script, script, script. It's one of the reasons why the Batman Part 2 is taking forever, because Matt Reeves had to finish the script. Supergirl script was complete. He loved the script. That's why it got greenlighted. There wasn't a let's do Superman and let's do Supergirl and then we're going to do Clayface and the whole universe is going to be come together. But the thing that this particular James Gunn is all about is the script done? Is it right? Let's go with it. And so it's a little different than how Marvel has done it.
I can highly appreciate that. I mean, I think that's my
Yeah.
biggest fault with Disney Star Wars. They never had a completed script for anything. You know, they just started filming because you got to make that money. You know, so I appreciate that, but I think it's a miss to not have some type of coordinated, you know, braiding of the storylines in some way. It doesn't all have to build to it doesn't have to build to a, you know, come together like Avengers type story.
Yeah.
Though I think when done right, those are awesome and enjoyable, you know, film going
And I mean,
experiences, and it does
I
everything that
do
you
think
want a movie to
there's,
do.
yeah, I do think there's some of that. I don't want to say that there's nothing, but I don't know that it's the thing that's driving the it's not steering the wheel.
Yeah.
You know, you have the Justice Gang or whatever they are, you know, in Superman, who they all show up in the Peacemaker series. And in the Lanterns, this series is going to be on HBO. I mean, Hal, you know, Hal, whatever his name is going to be in it. But then also, um, I can't think of his name right now. Nathan Fillion's character in Superman,
It's a bad
he's
haircut.
going to be in the Lantern. Yeah, he's going to be in the Lantern Corps, and so like there is some of that for sure. But I don't think it's steering the wheel nearly as much as it. Or a better metaphor might be that it's there's Marvel had a super highway of where they wanted to go, and I think DC is taking the road of they're taking a back road. And there's a road, there's a path, but it's a back road, and there might be some meandering.
Yeah. Well, it's a no for me, dog. This one, to quote the legend Randy Jackson, that's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, I do think that this is for some people, and it's not going to be for everybody. And I am a big James Gunn fan. I don't think this was a James Gunn film, and I'm not ready to lay all the blame at his feet. I will say that you know Gillespie probably really likes him and probably wants to be a little bit like him, and there wants to be a little bit of a feel there. But it was a no for me, dog, as well.
I
But
think
I don't feel as strongly as you do.
I think to me it's like if he's the overseer of this universe, then he's sort of like the captain on the ship, and he's got to go down with the ship or he's got to sail it into port.
Yeah.
And you know, so for me, he went down with the ship. You know.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm not ready to say that. I don't think we
Not the whole
spe-
DCU. I'm not ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm going to give.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll see Clayface. That just doesn't really appeal to me. I'm not-
Yeah.
you know.
Horror's not really. Yeah.
But whenever his version of Batman comes out, I'm gonna be real excited for it. I'm gonna go see it. You know, whenever his version of Wonder Woman or whatever comes next, you know, I feel like I've heard they may have cast Wonder Woman. You know, I heard some rumors about that. You know, whenever that comes out, I will go see that. You know, I like, you know, kind of the more standard A-list, you know, DC characters. Those are the first ones. I was having a conversation with a family member at the lake last week about, you know, about superheroes, and I was like, Superman was my first superhero that I ever knew about. You know, so he's like my favorite. You know, then it was Batman, and then it was probably Spider-Man. So like my foundation for what Superman or what superheroes are like are DC, you know, the colors, the powers, you know, all those cool things. My earliest, the handful of comic books that I had were DC comic books. So I have a predisposition toward them. I don't know if I have a predisposition toward telling these stories this way. And it could have been that they've always been told this way. I just didn't get that deep into the universe outside of Christopher Reeve and Michael Keaton, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Comic books. It's really like it's like a different.
Yeah.
You really have to, like, today in particular. There's just so many different worlds and so many different everything, and like, you know, they're pumping out content because they're looking for films. They're looking for
Yeah.
you know the IP, and I don't know. I'm not. That's a lot. It's a whole other thing you got to get into and read about, and
Sure.
most fans are honestly more YouTube watchers than they are comic book readers.
Yeah.
And so that's a real thing. But comic books have good stories, and they figure out how to do things in a good way. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to make it. There's been a regime change. Warner Brothers was purchased by Paramount, I think.
Something like
And
that.
so, like, whatever James Gunn did have as far as autonomy or authority, that's gone. They're in the business of making money.
Right.
If his stuff doesn't make money, even though it's good or bad, like it's not going to continue. And so, like, going down with the ship, I think is fair. Like we may get a good stop start. I don't know. And I'm not like super invested either, sadly. Like I don't, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make good films.
Amen. Amen.
Make good films.
Amen. And
Write good stories.
And let me tell you, let me pivot with our last 5 minutes, if you don't mind. Can we talk about Toy Story 5 quickly?
Yeah, please. I'm in a different phase of life than you are. Even though we're only a year apart, like you still have, how old's Lily? 11?
She's going in 7th grade, but we still
Okay.
enjoy a good family movie together, So
Yeah.
we were going to make an appointment. If actually it was Father's Day. That's how long it's been since we've been able to pod together. But it was Father's Day. I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to go see Toy Story 5 with the fam. And man, it delivered. Let me give you a quick 30-second review.
I was going to ask. That's great. Let's do a quick 30-second review of the Toy Story 5. I'm gonna pull up the stopwatch here. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, man.
This is Kyle Wiltshire's take of Toy Story Cinco,
Yes.
2026. In 3, 2, 1, go.
After a shaky visit to the world of sentient toys in 2019's Toy Story 4, Toy Story 5 is a welcomed return to form. This Jessie-centric story builds on all that the franchise does well, bringing joy to children and adults alike, with a thoughtful meditation on growing up and being there for those we love. I give it 4.5, 4.5 lightning bolts. Boom.
Okay. So that was good. That was a good solid 28 seconds, probably.
Okay.
Well done.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard much about the film. Don't really care, to be honest with you. Like I hate that. I hate that about kind of where I am in life, because that was such a big part of everything. But like, it's got convoluted for me, and I'm not interested. I did hear, however, though, that Conan O'Brien was fantastic.
He stole the show. He was, as a potty training electronic device, he stole the show. Jay, here's it's not a huge secret, but I'm a toy guy. Even as a middle-aged man, I continue to love and appreciate toys. Jay, my toy focus has shifted from Star Wars, original Star Wars, 70s and 80s Star Wars. I'm diving back into the G.I. Joe well. I'm collecting the original first line in 1982 G.I. Joes.
Who you got there? Is that Duke?
This is Grunt right here. Grunt.
Okay.
Can you get a good look at him?
Hold on a second. Let me zoom out a little bit more. Okay.
Focus.
Yeah, I see him.
Anyway, so I discovered my tin of my lunchbox of Star Wars toys during COVID, and I went and collected them all. I've got them all, but like 2 or 3, as I've stated before on this podcast. And so, like, because I'm not a bazillionaire, I can't really finish that collection. So I can go back into the well with G.I. Joes. Oh, I lost Jay. He got mad. He was like, I'm out of here. He might come back in. I'm gonna vamp for a minute while Jay makes his way back into the pod. Talk a little bit about G.I. Joes, and that's what I'm collecting currently, and going back into G.I. Joes. There he is. He's back.
Like, this is going to be a funny thing to talk about, but I was trying to hide myself so I wasn't looking at me, and I bounced myself out of the thing altogether.
Speaking of middle-aged men, we're rapidly becoming the point when technology's confusing, man. But
fair enough.
So I always to say I really love and still collect in a small way the toys of my youth, of my childhood, that I really enjoy. So Toy Story, the movies have kind of an emotional pull on my heart, and I've always appreciated those movies. And I was very sad that Toy Story 4 I didn't feel was very good, because Toy Story 3, the original trilogy, I would put it next to, the original Star Wars trilogy, Back to the Future trilogy, the original first 3 Indiana Jones, as like a really sound, great trilogy of films.
Yeah, well done.
rankings, your mileage may vary, but like it's a really good story. And so I was really worried that Toy Story 5 was going to stink. It was just going to be a money grab. And man, it was so good. Now Woody and Buzz are kind of taking the back seat just a touch, and they're pushing Jesse forward a little bit as kind of the avatar for the film, who you see the story through. But it was all about technology and tech and toys, tech versus toys, all those things. It's kind of some interesting stuff. And there was a whole lot of like girl dad, like not girl dad, but like girl stuff, girl politics, raising girls, what it feels like to be a girl, a young 10-year-old girl in the world today where everyone's, just constantly, so some really interesting stuff. What it feels to be imaginative. Are you outcast because you're different and imaginative, or do you have to just conform with everybody else? And our devices causing us to conform to everyone else and not expressing individuality and who we are. So man, it was great. I enjoyed it so much. And we had just a fantastic time. My kids all loved it. They were like, man, that was so good. So anticipate in about 5 years a Toy Story 6, unless something crazy happens and we lose Tom or Tim. I have a feeling that we will get a Toy Story 6 because it was great. It did service to the story of what they're trying to tell. So that's all.
Well, that's great, man. I probably am not going to go see it. And it's not because I don't think it's good or anything. It's just not, I don't.
Your girls are in college, different phase of life.
Yeah. I don't know. And it's possible that if in 10 years or whatever, I become a grandfather, that I'm watching all the things.
You'll circle back around.
Yeah.
They'll discover the Toy Story and all that. One of my sons really loves Pixar. Like Pixar is like his favorite, probably studio. If you could pin him down, he'd probably say, yeah, Pixar is my favorite studio. His favorite movie of all time is Ratatouille, and so like we just kind of line up for Pixar, for Pixar films. And, the last 5, 8, 7 years at Violet, they're not great. They not have been as great as the first, 15, 20 years of Pixar. So it's, it's interesting when they bring something out, they're typically following the IP trend. Let's make sequels to the ones we already have, and some of them are good, some of them aren't, but I'm ready. I'm appreciative of Pixar, and I'd love to see them regain their form of creativity and their original stories, not their sequels, but their original stories being really awesome as well. Much like Nemo, much like the original Incredibles, those first time, like, wow, these are awesome, awesome movies.
Yeah. Pixar had a great run, and, they do care about the story as well. I think they're a good example of that also. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, what's up? What's coming up next for us? What are we looking up next?
Man, life might get in the way, but hopefully, I think we're looking at probably the Odyssey is coming up and Spider-Man. Those two for sure. We may mix in something else along the way.
Yeah.
But probably the next one will be the Odyssey, and then one after that will probably be Spider-Man. And that might wrap up our season. Though I did see some interesting trailers. The new Ridley Scott film looked interesting. Dogman or Dogstar or something like that, or the Dog People. I can't remember what it was, but it was Jacob Elordi and Josh Brolin in some sort of a post-apocalyptic situation with what's her name from The Substance, the young girl from The Substance, not Demi Moore. She had a cameo in Happy Gilmore 2. You thought was really funny.
I can see her.
What is her name? Won't come to me.
She's a daughter. She's a daughter of
yes. Curly hair. Andy
rough.
McDowell.
Yes.
I can remember her mom, but I can't remember her name.
Yeah. It's okay.
We're old, man.
We're old. My daughter was talking about how we came up on her For You page, and she just laughed at us. And she just laughed and laughed at us. She was like, "You're just such a dad thing." I'm like, okay. I don't think that was a compliment.
I mean, I lean into the dad thing. That's where we are.
Yeah.
That's our station in life.
That's where we are for sure. Well, good. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Sometimes life does get in the way, but for those of you that are faithful and watching, man, we thank you for being here. We thank you for watching with us. We're having a good time. Honestly, we do this because we love it and we love to spend time together and we love to talk about things. And who knows, maybe again, I'll get to writing someday and Kyle won't have to wait on me and we'll work on book 2 and we'll continue to make things. I think, to honor Pixar and Toy Story 5, like it's important to create. It's important for me to create. It's
It
important
is.
to have that imagination. And this has been a good summer for me. I've listened to a lot of things. I've probably listened to like 16 books in the last 6
Dang,
months.
son. Yeah.
And we've been taking in movies, and so it's been a good thing for my soul to experience art. And sometimes I think we need that more so than a little screen in our hand that gives us a 30-second synopsis of whatever.
Yeah. But we still want you to enjoy our 30-second synopsis
watch
of these
us.
movies. Yeah, watch us. Watch ours. Yeah. On repeat, but Well,
Watch
Jay,
us.
when the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, just remember what your old pal said. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
It's a lot better than the new Taylor Swift song that they did on that thing.
That's true. That was part of the new movie.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, with that, we're going to hit some outro music and we're going to be done for today. Blessings upon you.
Peace.